Jon Jones has issued a public apology to Alex Pereira after appearing to troll him following his loss on the White House lawn. After Pereira's defeat to Ciryl Gane, Jones took to social media, posting a video of himself wearing a goat chain, an action many interpreted as a dig at Pereira. However, in an interview with Red Corner MMA, Jones clarified that his intention was not to mock Pereira, but rather to respond to his critics. He added that he meant no disrespect toward Potent. The full interview is available on the Red Corner MMA YouTube channel, with the link provided in the video description.
Alex all the best though. After the fight, I made a video that went pretty viral. It was just a video of me with a goat necklace on, and I was just making a look. And I felt as if that felt like an attack to Alex.
Uma hora difícil, o cara fazer uma provocação por cara que nunca fez uma provocação com ele. E só fiquei assim, sem entender por que ele fez.
I just want to say here, I hope he sees this interview, that I meant no disrespect to Alex in that. A lot of people before the fight was saying if Alex wins, he's the greatest of all time.
If he wins the third world title that night, he jumps over Jon Jones and becomes the greatest of all time.
My little video after Alex's loss was a message to all my haters. It wasn't directed towards Alex, so I want to make that really clear. I have nothing but respect for Alex. After my brother died, Pereira came out and had a moment of silence for my brother, and I respect that very, very.
Jon Jones also suggested that Alex Pereira's size played a role in his loss to Ciryl Gane. Jones argued Pereira would have been better suited, competing at 230 to 235 pounds, rather than 250, which he claimed made him slower and more hesitant inside the octagon.
I feel like Pereira, he came in too big. I think he would have been better off fighting around 230, 235, keeping that speed. I feel like his power would have possibly translated over. But in the fight, you just saw him, he was waiting. He was second guessing things, he was questioning things, and that's one of the worst things to do in a fight. It feels like a nightmare. When you're out there in front of your opponent, and you know the moves, and you know that you should throw that punch or throw that kick or go for that takedown, and you just don't. You find yourself out there watching instead of doing. And I've had it happen to me many times in practice, and I felt like that's what happened to Alex. He never really got his ball rolling. Ciryl Gane came at him in southpaw stance, which also I think challenges Pereira. He was fast, he was powerful, he was unorthodox, and it was the perfect storm for Pereira. He didn't.
Sean Strickland is back with another one of his signature moments. He recently shared a new hotel hack, revealing how he makes any room more livable.
I got another hotel hack for you. It's a good one. It's a good one. A little bit harder to do, but it's a good one. TSA sometimes looks at you a little questionable with duct tape in your bag. I know kind of weird shit you guys are into, but I always have duct tape. Anyways, I don't care what hotel you're in. There's always like one little crack in the curtain that just blinds you every morning. Bring duct tape.
Ian Garry believes he is just one win away from becoming the most successful Irish fighter in UFC history. Speaking at a Matchroom talent agency press conference, Garry claimed he will be the next Irish superstar, stating that another victory would see him surpass Conor McGregor for the most UFC wins by an Irish fighter.
Dublin Games, and it was 86,700, you know what I mean? Like, it's wild. The love in this country for sports and getting behind their own is massive. And I want to be the type of guy that brings the UFC back to Ireland. It's been a long time, do you know what I mean? I've been carrying this flag for Irish MMA for a long, long time. With my next fight, I'm the most victorious Irishman in UFC history. I'll have 11 wins. And I want to bring them back here. I've been saying it from day one. I am the next superstar of Irish MMA. I'm going to be carrying that second wave. And I want to bring them back to Croke Park. I want to bring them back to Dublin. I want to bring them back wherever they think they can go. Because these...
Ilia Topuria appears to have fully recovered following his loss at UFC Freedom 250. In a new video shared by his hairstylist, Louis Blesson, the former champion can be seen with no visible marks on his face. Some fans questioned how quickly he healed after taking significant damage. However, the Instagram page Cage Culture shared a DM exchange in which Blessing confirmed the footage was taken after the Justin Gaethje fight. Topuria has been handed a 6-month suspension following the loss, meaning he is expected to return in early 2027, with a potential rematch against Justin Gaethje already being discussed. How do you think a rematch would play out? Drop your predictions in the comments below. Conor McGregor shows off his acting skills in an ad for Polymarket. Conor is set to face Max Holloway at UFC 329 next weekend.
You talking to me? We're together, me and you. You're talking to me? You're talking to me? You're doubting me? After all we've been through?
Following UFC Freedom 250, Justin Gaethje's coach, Trevor Wittman, has offered high praise for Ilia Topuria's brother, Alessandri. After 4 grueling rounds, Alessandri made the difficult decision to stop the fight, recognizing that Ilia had sustained significant damage to his face. Speaking on the What On As You Show podcast, Coach Wittman expressed immense respect for Alessandri's willingness to prioritize his brother's health over the fight's outcome. He also commended Alessandri for not allowing Ilia to hide his face under a jacket as they walked out of the arena.
The brother did the right thing and stopped the fight. I didn't hear what he said until I understood the language where he was like, he said it a certain way, and the third time I heard it, I was like,
we're going to finish the fight.
We're going to finish the fight. And he was talking to the ref. He wasn't talking to Ilia. So I took it as Ilia was like, dude, I can't go on. And when you hear that from your athlete, you have to make that right choice on like, do we take more damage or do we go on? So I'm always there to protect my athletes, and it's very nice to be able to work with people that have the same goals as me. My goals is I'm never going to be a champion. I'm a championship coach, but I'm not a champion. And being able to work with people that want to chase things like that, I get so much joy out of it. Seeing the concern in his brother's eye and the way his brother was pulling the hood off, like, bro, don't be embarrassed. You fought your ass off. Like, that is special. That is like, everybody's making fun of like the way he was putting a hood over his head. When you're down, you're down. And, you know, again, to be at the level that he is at took the most courage to get to that point. And what he's done to the guys prior to us. His brother was telling him, pull that off, dude. Like, don't be down, we lost. And when you lose a round doesn't mean you lose a fight. When you lose a fight doesn't mean you lose your opportunity for a championship. It's how you...
Boxing legend Terence Crawford has reaffirmed his criticism of Ilia Topuria following Topuria's recent loss at the White House event. Prior to the event, Topuria made headlines by claiming he could defeat boxing greats like Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford in potential crossover fights. Crawford, who watched cageside as Topuria fell short on the White House lawn, later took to social media to mock the performance, prompting Conor McGregor to publicly defend Ilia. Appearing recently on the Ariel Helwani show, Crawford addressed his online comments, standing by his original critique, stating, "This is the same guy that said he would knock me out and whoop me and Shakur at the same time?" That was in reference to Ilia, right?
Got that one right.
For sure, definitely. This is my first time seeing him in a fight, and the first impression wasn't the best impression. That's just me. And for him to come out and say he gonna beat me, one of the best fighters of all time, knocking me out, I think it was a sign of disrespect. You know, like, you're not respecting my craft, which I would never go in the MMA and disrespect them and say, oh, well, I'll choke you out, or I'll do this, I'll do that, when I know it's going to be a tough task to do, because they've been doing that for so long that they know the ins and outs. Just like boxing. I've been doing boxing since I was 7 years old. There's no way that this guy is going to come in there and do anything to me that I ain't never seen before. So seeing him get hit with the jab and the 1-2, the whole fight, I'm like, what? I'm like, what's everybody excited about? You know, he threw some good body shots. You know, he came straightforward, like any straightforward fighter, and he lost.
Ian Garry, speaking ahead of his UFC 330 clash with Islam Makhachev, emphasized his desire to avoid an early knockout. He insists on leaving no room for excuses, aiming to deliver definitive proof of his superiority.
Scenario, I want a 4th round finish. I don't want any early knockout, because then there's ifs, buts, maybes, there's excuses. I want 4 rounds of domination, and in that 4th round, I'm going to tell everybody, I'm going to do it now. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to finish it. I'm going to open the door, I'm going to walk him into my traps, and I'm going to take his head clean off.
Kenny Florian has joined the growing chorus of fighters and analysts, critical of referee Herb Dean. During the latest Anik Florian podcast, the former UFC veteran expressed his frustration with Dean's consistent reluctance to deduct points for clear fouls, citing the Shara Bullet versus Michelle Pereira bout from this past weekend as a prime example.
By Shara Bullet and some warnings by Herb Dean in the fight. I'd like to get your thoughts on that. Alex Pereira has called Herb Dean a coward, and certainly some residual stuff there from his lack of action in the UFC Freedom 250 fight against Ciryl Gane for Poatan. But what did you make of the fouls and the warnings but no point deduction?
John, not all fouls are created equal. Like similar to, you know, whatever the law has for us, right? It's like running a stop sign, stopping for a second and then slowly creeping past the stop sign is very different than, you know, speeding past the stop sign at 50 miles an hour. There's a difference between accidentally hitting someone in the groin and pulling their hair on purpose.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Why are we treating all these fouls the same, John? It ticks me off.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of referees are afraid to influence the fight, even if it's deserving.
Yeah, you put it well. I mean, we all have our preferred referees, and we all have our opinions as to how relatively good we think they are at the job. I think Mark Goddard is the gold standard. I also believe that on any given Saturday night for referees and fighters and commentators, this sport presents a lot of challenges, and even the best will not.
Justin Gaethje team roasted him for botching his backflip celebration after defeating Ilia Topuria at the White House.
Fanatic. And I also say one of the luckiest mofos out there. I mean, the last the stretch he's been on the last two. Stop that. The stretch he's been on the last two years. Let's not forget the casino before the Ferrari.
The last 2 years included Max Holloway.
And let's not forget that you landed the first double backflip.
That's true.
Without a broken neck.
Wait, did he?
Kamaru Usman believes Ilia Topuria needed a setback like the one he suffered against Justin Gaethje. Usman says the loss could end up being the experience that shapes Topuria's path to greatness.
People are missing from what we do is the spiritual aspect of this. I think Ilia I don't think it was a mistake. Ilia did everything he needed to do to learn the lessons he needed to learn. Now, if that makes him the best ever, that's hopefully we'll see what that happens. It's already written. In order for you to learn that about yourself, you needed to go through something like this. And so he did exactly what he needed to do. For Justin to make a statement like that, he needed to go through the 1 second knockout by Mac. He needed to go through being subbed by Khabib. He needed to feel all of those things to have the greatness, to have a moment.
Daniel Cormier also gave his thoughts on Ian Garry, saying he doesn't want an early knockout over Islam Makhachev. After Garry predicted he'd finish Islam in the 4th round, DC advised him to not focus on getting the finish in a specific round.
A person is misguided in their thoughts, and when they're misguided in their thoughts, they set themselves up for a very, very bad night or a bad result. I'm not saying Ian Garry cannot beat Islam Makhachev. What I'm saying is you got to take that as it comes. You can't try to say, I want to beat the #1 pound fighter in the world in a certain round because I don't want it to be a fluke. If you win, it does not matter how you win. It does not matter.
In other news, tensions are running high between Michael Bisping and Eddie Hearn. The feud started when Hearn criticized Bisping on the Ariel Helwani show, saying Bisping should be ashamed for not standing up for fighters and questioning the pace of Tom Aspinall's recovery. Bisping has since fired back on his Believe You Me podcast, calling Hearn's comments absolute nonsense and accusing him of hypocrisy. Bisping also challenged Hearn's claims that boxers under his management earn more than Aspinall does in the UFC.
Be ashamed. I have no idea the money that Tom's getting paid.
Yeah.
I am not a part of that. All I ever said, and I think everyone with half an ounce of intelligence can see it, that Eddie Hearn is muddying the waters, maybe in terms of something to do with Eddie Hearn and Dana White and his perceived war and beef that he's having with Dana, right? That's it. That's all I've ever said. I've never mentioned a goddamn word about his compensation. I hope Tom Aspinall gets paid shitloads. I hope he can go out there and get him a contract for $30 million per fight. It's no skin off my nose. It's no skin off your nose. That's what I want for all fighters. What the are you talking about, Eddie? So That's it. I just had to say that because that's a lie. To say those words that I should be ashamed, I never said that. I just said it's a bit weird because he's not fighting and Eddie Hearn's now managing him.
Yeah.
I just saw the episode. We all know that. It's absolute horseshit what Eddie Hearn is saying, and he wants to have a debate. Eddie, the fact that, and again, I didn't want to do this, and I even asked Chris Costello, he's head of PR, I said, what do you reckon? I'm going to say something. He's like, don't bother, Mike. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But I don't want him, all you little shits out there, I just don't want you to get it twisted. I care about fighters, and I know you do, Paul. We care deeply, and we love this sport, and that's why we are commentators. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. And by the way, and if we're talking about company men, right? Tony Bellew was someone that he promoted. Now, Tony Bellew, I love Tony, by the way, he's one of his commentators. Does that not make Tony Bellew a company man and like, you can't trust anything that Tony says? Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. Do you know what I mean? So it's just a what's the word I'm looking for? It's just a contradiction. But yeah, the boxers at York Hall making more money than what Tom Aspinall, that's a lie. That's a lie. And maybe there's a boxer in the UK that's doing well right now called Ben Whittaker. And I think he got offered a contract by Sky, so Eddie Hearn pays him pretty decently. So maybe he's referring to him. But the real question would be, what was Ben Whittaker's opponent paid?
Yeah.
Because I guarantee it's next to...
Daniel Rodriguez has expressed admiration for Josh Hokit's skills as a fighter, but he hasn't been impressed by his character outside of the octagon.
This came out, I'm not gonna lie, it was original, it was funny. This time around in the interviews, it was kind of like the Vato thing, and he did the 1 minute, the comedy skit, and that was just horrible, bro. Like, I think
I think he needs a new character.
yeah, that one's not it, you know. I think he should just stick to what he started with, and you know, but it's funny though. I mean, he's going out there and he's performing, so I mean, the guy came up with an original character, you know, and he's doing his thing, bro.
Valter Walker wants a piece of Josh Hokit. In an interview with Home of Fight, Valter said that if he gets a hold of Hokit's leg, he won't let go until he breaks it and sends Hokit into surgery.
Ready? For this guy is no problem for me, bro. This guy, Josh Hokit, I can block his leg. But please, when he tap, I don't gonna let him go.
No, you gotta let go, or else you get cut.
No, I'm gonna send him to the surgery, brother. If I take his leg and he tap, I don't gonna let him go. He talks shit about my country. He talks shit about Brazilian people. While before, when my leg is broke, he called my name on microphone, you know. But step by step, one day we're gonna meet in the octagon. This is all what matters. One day, his foot gonna be mine.
Daniel Cormier claims that him and Jon Jones were in negotiations for a wrestling match that would have paid both men 7-figure purses. However, DC says Jon just would not do it.
It wouldn't be RAF because they can't afford to pay it. But there's an organization that offers us both 7 figures for a 6-minute match. He will not do it. I'm telling you guys, he will not do it. I'm telling you, and I'm not lying. I went through the negotiations and I said, if he wrestles me, I'll do it. I said, but it's going to be 10-0. I'm going to tech him. I said, but unfortunately, he knows it's going to be 10-0, so he won't do it. So then I said, how about we do a grappling match? He said, no, only submissions. I said, well, why don't we do points, right? Where we win. I don't want to be tied at the end. No points, only submissions. So he won't do it. He won't compete with me in anything that he think there's a chance he will lose in. So give up on the Jon Jones thing. He's not.
From rivals to training partners, Anthony Hernandez was recently spotted training with his former opponent Sean Strickland just months after their fight. Now, in an interview with Ariel Helwani, Fluffy explained how the unexpected partnership came together. He also spoke highly of Strickland, calling him a cool dude and a very tough presence on the mats. Interestingly enough, you and Sean clearly very cool because I just saw a photo of you guys training together very recently, right?
Here you are.
No, yeah, he's a cool dude, man. I got nothing bad to say about the guy, man. He's been helping me. I've been training with him. He's gone for 2 weeks from Vegas right now, and then he'll be back, and we're going to get back to work. You know what I mean?
How did that come about? Did you reach out to him?
No, he actually hit me up for the Hamza fight, but I was injured during the time, and I couldn't go out and help him. And I was like, well, I'll eventually train with you. So I'm going to be in Vegas a lot more for camp this time. So I was like, we just set it up so we can train.
I love that. Why in Vegas a lot more for camp this time?
Just to dial some shit in. Like, I want to go to the PI and really like dial in with the nutritionist, dial in with the strength and conditioning, dial in with some like bigger guys, some better guys, and just make shit exciting again for myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, different looks.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm like, the way I see it, I'm all in this game. Whatever it takes to get me to the title, I'm gonna do. If that means like moving away from my fucking family for 6 weeks into camp, then so be it. Yeah.
What did you think when Sean beat Hamza? Were you surprised, or was that what you were expecting after just fighting him?
I wasn't surprised at all. That motherfucker's tough as hell, bro.
Yeah.
He's a tough son of a...
Herb Dean has garnered support from a key figure in the development of MMA's rule set, Big John McCarthy, amidst his current controversy. For years, Dean's decision-making has faced scrutiny, but the issue has intensified in recent weeks, particularly after Alex Pereira's vocal criticism following his loss to Ciryl Gane at UFC Freedom 250. This criticism was further fueled by some disputed calls made by Dean at subsequent events, including those at the Meta Apex in Las Vegas and in Baku. As a result, petitions have emerged calling for Dean's removal as a referee. On the Ariel Helwani show, McCarthy weighed in on the Pereira-Gane incident, stating that most of the strikes landed by Gane were, in fact, legal, and that Gane should not be labeled a dirty fighter.
Do I think, Ciryl Gane is a dirty fighter? No, I don't. I think at times he becomes reckless when he's got the opportunity to, end the fight. He starts to just wail, and it happens. It happens with a ton of fights, Many times you saw Ciryl Gane when he was being put onto his butt as Alex was trying to, get himself through it. He's throwing elbows. What do you think's happening with Alex Pereira's motion? He's going forward. He's pushing against Ciryl Gane as Ciryl Gane's trying to throw, and that's changing the actual placement of where he's trying to throw. I thought Ciryl Gane was attempting throughout most of it to absolutely be legal in targeting the right area. Did he hit in a legal area a couple times? I do think he did, but most of them, no, he did not.
Big John McCarthy then shifted his focus to Herb Dean's officiating, emphasizing that referees need to assess each situation on a case-by-case basis, and that point deduction should only be made when a foul has a direct and significant impact on the outcome of the fight.
Look, I'm going to say this straight out. Herb Dean is a friend of mine. I love Herb. Herb is one of the nicest human beings that you will ever find. And the one thing I will say is he doesn't want to interfere with the fight. He doesn't, and I don't, and no referee does. The greatest fight I can have is a fight where someone goes, who's the referee of that? Perfect. We have to be equitable, and we have to look and say, what's best for the fighters at the moment? What's best for the sport? What did the foul, if there was a foul committed, what did it actually do to affect the fight? If it did something to affect the fight, you should be taking a point. If it didn't do anything to truly affect the fight, then we try to either give a warning, take positions away, things like that. The real reason you're seeing a lot of, what you have with, the way we do fights in MMA is we have usually 3 rounds. 3 rounds, a point deduction is not like what you see in the NFL with there's a 10-yard penalty, there's a 15-yard penalty. We're talking about a penalty that gives a score, okay? So when you take just 3 rounds, taking that point is a huge difference in the outcome of the fight. And so we are hopefully judicious with how we do that. And we're not going to just be, taking points like everyone is talking about. You can't do that because you affect the sport in a negative way. And Dana White would not be happy with that. He's going to be pissed because the fighters are the ones that should be determining who wins the fight. Could, Hurd take points on certain things? Yeah. There's times that, he's not taking a point and I would have. And I'm sure there's times that I've taken a point and he wouldn't have, or he, maybe I haven't taken it and he would have. We're all going to be a little bit different in the way that we view things. We're different people, but we all try to be as, together as we possibly can.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest MMA news. See you in the next one.